Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the, the 40th seating of the Southbridge Town Council. It is my honor to convene the meeting and to immediately turn over the gavel to Senior Councilor Conrad Vandal. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Pecos. Thank you, Mr. Pecos. Let's pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Swearing in of the councilors-elect, Town Clerk Matty Dowse. Enjoy.
Thank you. Councilor Estrada, would you please come to the podium? You, Miguel Estrada, solemnly swear to perform all duties incumbent of you as a town councilor for the town of Southbridge until June 30th, 2017, faithfully and impartially according to the laws of the Commonwealth, and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Southbridge, so help you God. And then I also have to give you the open meeting law and the standards of conduct. So if you would just sign your name right there too, please, sir. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Steve. Thank you. Councilor Steves? Do you, George P. Steves, solemnly swear to perform all duties incumbent of you as a town councilor for the town of Southbridge until June 30th, 2017, faithfully and impartially according to the laws of the Commonwealth, and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Southbridge, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. I can just do that. And then I need to give you the open meeting law and the standards of conduct, so if you would just sign your name right there, please. Perfect. There you go, sir. Thank you. Congratulations.
You did.
Councilor Vecchio? Please raise your right hand. You, Albert D. Vecchio, Jr., solemnly swear to perform all duties incumbent of you as a member of the Southbridge Town Council until June 30th, 2017, faithfully and impartially according to the laws of the Commonwealth, and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Southbridge, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. We would just... I also have to give you the open meeting law and the standards of conduct, so if you would just sign your name right there, please.
All set, Mary?
Here you are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations to you, sir. Thank you. All set, Councilor Vandal.
Peter Joyce, pastor of St. John Paul II Parish, will perform the invocation.
Thank you, Councilor Vandal. Thank you, all of you, for your service to our community. It is a great privilege, but also one that we as townspeople hold with gratitude for your service, for your generosity, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to ask God's blessing upon each of you and upon this work. Many years ago when I was in the seminary, I was taught that God uses the physical to explain the spiritual. There's a storm brewing over our community. We've had a severe warning today, And yet that warning has been unnecessary in some ways. There is a gentle rain that is falling. And so let us pray. Lord our God, you send the rain to wash the earth and to bring forth life. We ask that this gift of nature be a sign and a witness of your blessing, not only upon the land of our town, but upon this gathering of our town council and the year that is to come. May it know the gentle rain of your Spirit and its blessing. With that rain and blessing, may there come its many gifts of wisdom and of grace, of patience and of understanding. Bless our council and the important work that lies ahead of it for this year, to be able to strengthen our community, to bring us together as a people, to be able to build our bonds as brother and sister who call this great town our home. Be with them. Help them through the moments of difficulty, of struggle, and of difference to be able to find harmony and unity and common good, not only among themselves, but for all of us as this blessed town of Southbridge, that others might look to us and see in this eye of the Commonwealth a window to our soul, to our goodness, and to the power of your grace that is real and alive and present in this council and in everyone who lives in Southbridge. As the gentle rain falls, may your Spirit come with abundance, not only tonight, but in all the nights and days that will follow for this year, that the work of this council will do your work for the sake of our town, for our common good, and to build up this great and wonderful community, that in it we might know your blessing as God blesses Southbridge and America every day. We ask this in him who is Lord forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father Peter.
Thank you.
Stacy, roll call of town councilors, please.
Councilor Carrasco? Present. Councilor Clements?
Present.
Councilor Estrada? Present. Councilor Manna?
Present.
Councilor Moriarty?
Present.
Councilor Peliquin? Present. Councilor Steves?
Present.
Councilor Vandal?
Present.
Councilor Vecchia?
Present.
9 present.
May I have a motion for the council chair?
I make a motion.
Have a second?
She didn't make a motion.
I make a motion. I was waiting for it to recognize me. I'd like to nominate Sean Moriarty.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Second it.
I second it.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilor Clements?
Moriarty.
Councilor Estrada?
Moriarty.
Councilor Manna?
Present.
I'm sorry, was that?
Present.
Present. Councilor Moriarty?
Moriarty.
Councilor Peliquin? Moriarty. Councilor Steves?
Moriarty.
Councilor Vandal?
Moriarty.
Councilor Vecchia?
Moriarty.
Councilor Krasko?
Moriarty.
8 Moriarty, 1 present.
We now have a new chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the election of a vice chairman. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to make a motion for Esteban Carrasco.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have okay. Do we have any further nominations?
I didn't hear that.
He nominated Councilor Carrasco. Any other nominations? Once, twice. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilor Estrada?
Carrasco.
Councilor Manna?
Present.
Councilor Moriarty?
Carrasco.
Councilor Peliquin?
Carrasco.
Councilor Steves?
Carrasco.
Councilor Vandal?
Carrasco.
Councilor Vecchia?
Carrasco.
Councilor Kraska?
Carrasco.
And Counselor Clements?
Present.
7 Carrasco, 2 present.
Thank you. At this time, I will turn this over to our town clerk, Madeline I. Doust, for this permanent seating arrangement, where she will draw at random. And we'll have each of the councilors remaining to join her over at the podium for that drawing, please.
Y'all have to, yeah. Hold on, I'll go alphabetically. Yeah, okay. That's okay. No worries.
I think it's supposed to go up.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. No, I didn't, that's not my thing, but. Counselor Clemens? Okay, I'll take that back.
No way, I'm keeping it.
Thank you. Counselor Clemens has picked seat 6. Counselor Estrada? Counselor Estrada has picked seat 5. Councilor Minner has picked seat 4. Councilor Pelican? Councilor Pelican has picked seat 3. Councilor Steve? Yes. Councilor Steves has picked seat 13. 13. Councilor Vandal? Councilor Vandal has picked seat 11. Councilor Vecchia?
How many seats are left?
1.
12.
12, okay.
So where am I?
Councilor Vecchia has picked seat 12, right next to Conrad. I think you shot him.
Okay, at this time, I'd like a motion to adjourn the reorganizational meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Hands fine? Okay. So we will adjourn the reorganizational meeting. And we will now open the July 7th Town Council meeting here in the McKinnon Council Chambers. And again, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Carrasco?
Present.
Counselor Clements?
Present.
Counselor Estrada?
Present.
Counselor Manna?
Present.
Counselor Moriarty?
Present.
Counselor Peliquin?
Present.
Counselor Steves?
Present.
Counselor Vandal?
Present.
Counselor Vecchia?
Present.
9 here.
Thank you. Consider and accept the council meeting minutes of Monday, June 23rd, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Any revisions?
I abstain. No.
Okay. Then all in favor? We'll go through the roll call.
Sure.
Counselor Clements?
Yes?
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Steves?
Abstain.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Vecchia?
Okay.
Abstain.
Counselor Krasko?
Yes.
7 yes, or 6 yes, I'm sorry, 7 yes, 1 present, 1 abstain.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the subcommittee reports. What I'd like to do, I think, will, for those who were subcommittee chairs last year can update where appropriate. General Government was Councilor Nicola. There are no meeting minutes and no meeting scheduled at this time. For DPW, Councilor Vandal.
No report, no meeting scheduled.
Thank you. Education and Human Services was Councilor Marcucci, also not here. No meeting minutes here, and there are no meetings scheduled. Planning and Development, Councilor Clements.
No meeting minutes.
Thank you. And E, Protection of Persons and Property. On Thursday, a meeting of the Protection of Persons and Property Subcommittee was held on Thursday, June 19th, 2014, in the Rice Conference Room. In attendance were myself, Councilors Nicola and Carrasco, citizen members Rick Nash and Jack Jovan. Also in attendance were Councilors Vandal and Manna, Karen Harnoy, Fire Chief DeFranzo, Deputy Chief Normandin, Tom Edwards, Derek Lamica, Roger and Estelle Cowett, and Gus Steves. I call the meeting to order at 7:22 p.m. Agenda item number 1 was vote to approve Joshua Roy as full-time firefighter and paramedic for the town of Southbridge for an indefinite term, effective immediately following successful completion of physical. Motion was made by Rick Nash and seconded by Councilor Nicola to open agenda item number 1 for discussion. Chief DeFranzo said this position was budgeted for and adds 1 additional firefighter-paramedic to his staff. He will be sent through the Firefighter Academy. This now gives the chief 6 firefighters per group with 4 groups on the department. The position now helps them do more ambulance runs and recapture transfer revenues. A motion was made by Jack Jovan and seconded by Rick Nash to change the wording of the motion to read, quote, vote to recommend to council the approval of Joshua Roy as full-time firefighter-paramedic for the town of Southbridge for an indefinite term, effective immediately following successful completion of physical, end quote. Vote by a show of hands was unanimous, 5-0. Motion was made by Councilor Carrasco and seconded by Councilor Nicola to accept the motion as amended above. Vote by a show of hands, 5-0. Agenda item number 2 was vote to reappoint the following to the 3-year called fire department: Joshua Brackett of Southbridge, Gil Provost of Southbridge, Keith Nichols of Southbridge. To the 1-year call department, Travis McDonald of Southbridge. To the 1-year auxiliary department, Colin Mocklow of Southbridge, Dylan Langley of Southbridge, John Anderson of Southbridge. A motion was made by Jack Jovan and seconded by Councilor Nicola to open agenda item number 2 for discussion. Councilor Carrasco asked if any of these call/auxiliary firefighters are eligible to be hired as permanent. Chief DeFranzo said they were not at this time as they need the paramedic training. If they received the certification, they would certainly be eligible. A motion was made by Jack Jovan and seconded by Councilor Nicola to amend and vote on the wording of the motion to insert recommend to council. Vote by a show of hands, 5-0. Agenda item number 3 was an update and discussion of the fire station. Chief DeFranzo said he has asked the existing members of the Fire Station Building Committee if they were still interested in serving. Based on the answers he received, he feels the committee should be formed. Chief DeFranzo said he will ask for interested parties and submit the names to the town manager's office. Agenda item number 4, update and discussion of fire department policies and procedures. Chief DeFranzo said they did research and are condensing things into one book. They are halfway there and hoping to have an update by the end of the summer. A motion to adjourn was made by Councilor Nicola and seconded by Councilor Carrasco. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 5-0. The meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Evelyn Rivera, recording clerk. And at this time, there are no meetings scheduled. So we move on to agenda item number 5, which is chairman's announcements. And the only announcement I would put out there tonight is for those who are interested in serving on a subcommittee, whether it's general government, DPW, education, human services, planning and development, or protection of persons and property, should contact the manager's office and put in their interest. And if you have questions as to which each of these subcommittees handle and do, feel free to, by all means, approach any of us as counselors, but also you can get those answers in the manager's office. And with that, I will turn the next item over to the town manager, Kevin Pecos, for town manager's announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if it please members of the council, I'm handing out a memo. I apologize. It's not typical to give you a memo at a meeting, I know, and you don't need to read it. Just if you can read it later at your leisure. The substance of it is to establish a procedure to set goals and objectives for the council so that hopefully two things can be accomplished. Number one, the council can articulate its goals for the community, and the department heads, in full understanding of those goals, can devise a work plan to come back to the council for final review and approval so that we have a work plan for the fiscal year. So, in order to initiate the exercise, if you are agreeable to this, what I would ask the council to do, please, is to write down the key concerns, issues, challenges, whatever you may call them, that confront the community. No specific number, could be 3 to 5, could be 10, whatever in your judgment is a proper list of those. And if you would be so kind, if you agree with that, to give them to me sometime in the next week to 10 days. I've already had dialogue with several of the department heads, and we'll complete that this Thursday morning at a staff meeting where I will ask all department heads to do a similar exercise. Once I've received all this input, I'll prepare 2 spreadsheets for you. One will be the department head's input, one will be the council's input. Give this back to you, and eventually I'll merge those lists. And the idea will be for you to get a snapshot quickly of where the department heads see those issues, where you see those issues, and the ultimate goal within a couple weeks will be to merge the lists, represent it to the council in rank order of how many people saw each of these issues as important. And then once the council goes through that list and says, okay, these things remain as issues to be addressed, I will take that, turn it into a formal goals and objectives document with each of those items listed, steps underneath it to try to accomplish those goals, represent it to the council, and my hope is by around Labor Day that I will have from you your expression of where you as a council would like to see the community moving, such that the department heads can begin accomplishing those your goals in a very substantive material sense. The second part of that activity exercise comes later after I've had a chance to dialogue with the department heads to devise a system of performance review and accountability in how the department heads and their subordinate employees actually accomplish those goals. And that will have to be the second part because I'd like to have some dialogue with them. So if that sounds like it would be helpful to the council, Mr. Chairman, and members of the council, I will endeavor to work very hard to get that produced for you, and hopefully we can come up with a work plan for the year in just a few meetings.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7 is swearing in and presentation, and we have none on the schedule here tonight. So we open it up to agenda item number 8, citizens forum. So if there are any citizens here in attendance that would like to speak and address the council, now is your opportunity to do so. One more time. Okay, seeing none. Agenda item number 9 is to vote to appoint Joshua Roy as a full-time firefighter paramedic for the town of Southbridge for an indefinite term, effective immediately upon successful completion of physical.
So moved.
Second.
Chief DeFranco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, all, and congratulations to the newly elected councilors, first of all. The appointment of Joshua Roy this evening will be the final piece to a long work session that the work group did for our department to determine how to best capture and better capture EMS transfer work to generate revenues for our department. We've had a number of subcommittee meetings to discuss this and figure out which direction we wanted to take. and after listening to the finance team, it was decided that one firefighter would be more than helpful this go-around, so it was recommended that we hire one firefighter, and that's the recommendation before you this evening. Mr. Roy started the process with us back in December, and he's ready to go tonight, so we're looking forward to a positive vote this evening.
Open it up for any questions or comments. Seeing none, Stacy, roll call, please.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Steves?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Vecchia?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
9 yes.
Congratulations.
Just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to work here in Southbridge. Lifelong goal of mine to become a full-time firefighter paramedic. So I just want to say thank you again. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Just wanted to say thank you. Like I said, it's a lifelong goal of mine to become a firefighter paramedic. So to get the opportunity is a great honor. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Moving on to agenda item number 10, vote to approve the zoning map change on Worcester Street as recommended by the Planning Board. It would expand the light industrial zone at Worcester and Vinton Street by rezoning 3 properties on the Assessor's Map 15, lots 129 and 130 from general business to light industrial, and lot 131 from 2-family residential to light industrial, as shown on a map filed with the Town Clerk's Office entitled 2014 Zoning Map Request, Worcester Street.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Clements?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to point out that this was brought up, discussed in depth at the Planning and Development Subcommittee meeting this past spring, and we did have a member of the, actually Mr. Payer was there and did bring up any, addressed any concerns, and the committee felt that very strongly that this was a good thing that they were approving, and so it was recommended to move forward. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor Steves?
Through you to Councilor Clements, just a quick question. What was the actual intent of this project? What are they trying to do there?
Could you just make sure you speak in a little bit? Thanks.
What's the intent behind making the change? What do they want to do there?
I believe Mr. Doust is looking to do some type of a car business, perhaps, or something. I'm not 100%, but I believe that was the intent of the zoning.
All set, Councilor? Any other questions or comments? And again, this is just the second reading for this proposed change. Roll call, please.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Steves?
Yeah.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Vecchia?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Agenda item number 11 is vote to transfer $20,000 from motor vehicle fuel and lubricants account number 1.19/5481.99.737 to police department accounts as follows to cover projected costs through June 30th of 2014. Salaries number 1.210.5110 in the amount of $10,000. Overtime account number 1.210.5130 in the amount of $7,500, and overtime and training account number 1.210.5132 in the amount of $2,500. The majority of the shortage is due to costs associated with the investigation of the arsons in town.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Councilor Vecchia?
My question is, it says projected costs, salaries, $10,000. Do we have a breakdown on this $10,000? How many hours?
Is that either through the manager or Lieutenant Woodson? Either way.
I'll defer to the lieutenant.
Good evening, Council. Congratulations to the new councilors. Just a bit of history on the overspending. It's the first time in 12 years that the department's been over budget. We had a series of arsons in the community that stringed on for several months, and at one point it seemed like it was on a nightly basis. Not to be dramatic, but at one point we were seriously concerned that someone was going to be killed in the community, perhaps an elderly person. The fires seemed to be kind of drifting in that area up in the TAG region. These were happening in the middle of the night, and basically we put all boots on the ground. It was a full court press, including foot patrols, bike patrols, and including, you know, hundreds of hours of overtime for detectives that you didn't see that were in those areas doing surveillance. It's the only way that we thought that we could keep the community safe. And that's why it was overspent.
Hi, how are you doing?
All
Nice
right.
to see you. My point is this, it's projected cost through June 30th. You have the cost? Because it's after June 30th.
It's approximately $20,000.
Okay.
And what happened, just to elaborate a little bit further, we moved money around in various accounts after speaking with Ms. Harnois, the finance director, and that was the appropriate mechanism to put into place to augment the overtime accounts that we depleted. So we took money from accounts that we still had money left in, and we moved it to the overtime account, because our normal budget, we were well over it.
You answered my question. I think you had a question.
Okay, yep. Do you have?
Just a note, because the fiscal year just closed a few days ago, the exact balances that will occur by the end of the year aren't clear as of tonight. This is a not to exceed, and it's probably fairly close to what the actuals will be. But the only other way to do would be to wait several weeks till the council's next meeting, and that would be too late to close the books for the year.
It's fine with me.
Councilor Steves?
Through you to the Lieutenant. I was wondering, is there anything you can tell the public about where things stand as far as, anything you can tell the public about where things stand as far as the investigation itself goes?
Well, unfortunately, right now, it's an ongoing investigation, so I can't elaborate on the specifics, but just so the public knows, we've got members of the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Bureau helping us, an agent. We've got the Massachusetts State Police, Fire Marshal's Office, all of our detectives. In fact, our entire detective division for the last several months has really been doing nothing else but focusing on these crimes. That's really all I can say at this time.
Does somebody else have any questions or concerns, comments? Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilor Manna?
Yes.
Councilor Moriarty?
Yes.
Councilor Peliquin?
Yes.
Councilor Steves?
Yes.
Councilor Vandal?
Yes.
Councilor Vecchia?
Yes.
Councilor Crosco?
Yes.
Councilor Clements?
Yes.
Councilor Estrada?
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion passes. Agenda item number 12 is to vote to accept the transfer of the care of, I'll start that again. Vote to accept transfer of the care, custody, management, and control of property known as 80 Marcy Street, also known as 82 Marcy Street, located on the Town of Southbridge Assessor's Map, ID/035/108/00001, formerly the site of the Mary E. Wells Middle School, and of late declared by the school committee surplus and available for disposition by the town. This is a 2/3 vote required.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns? I don't know if the town manager would like to speak on it at all.
Just a note, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Massachusetts statute does not allow school committees to directly sell surplus land. Only councils can do that in the name of the community. So this is a procedural motion which transfers title from the school committee to the town, in the name of the town through the council, and then it allows the council to dispose of the property as you deem fit.
Councilor Vandal?
Could somebody give me the price that this building sold for? I asked for it last meeting or the meeting before that.
It's in the next one.
13.
The next agenda item would be to sell it for no less than 1.285, so just under 1.3 million.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll roll call, please.
Councilor Moriarty?
Yes.
Councilor Peliquin?
Yes.
Councilor Steves?
Yeah.
Councilor Vandal?
Yes.
Councilor Vecchia?
Yes.
Councilor Crosco?
Yes.
Councilor Clements?
Yes.
Councilor Estrada?
Yes.
Councilor Manna?
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion passes. Agenda item number 13, vote to convey property known as 80 Marcy Street, also known as 82 Marcy Street, located on the Town of Southbridge Assessor's Map ID/035/108/0001, formerly the site of the Mary E. Wells Middle School, and of late declared by the school committee surplus and available for disposition by the town for the sum of no less than $1,285,000 to Arch Street Development, LLC, it being determined that said property is no longer needed for a public purpose. This, too, will be a 2/3 vote required.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Councilor Steves?
Yeah, I don't know if the town manager could explain a little bit about why, first of all, why is it that we're looking for 1.285 million?
Can't hear you.
The town assessor's website said it's valued at almost 8 million. The documentation for the purchase and sale from the RFP says it's worth 3.2 million. That doesn't sound like it's a really good deal to me.
The appraisal that the town conducted in January 2010 established the full and fair market value of what's called highest and best use, i.e. the appraiser has to determine approximately what would be the best use of the property, and based on comparable sales of similar properties, what would be the value. Once that value is determined, it has to be leavened by the reality that there may be extenuating factors which do not allow the town necessarily to sell the property for exactly what the appraised value is, i.e. If the reuse of the building is for residential and is asbestos present and the potential buyer has to remediate the asbestos, what would that cost them? They might have to put in a new heating system. So the full value has to be titrated against the practicalities of what's likely to be bid. In the RFP, you probably noticed that there's what's called minimum criteria and comparative criteria. And what those do is it allows the town to have, in this case, 3 different gradations, if you will, of value, and to determine amongst those 3 how many points, if you will, or what degree of favorability each proposal submitted will be given depending upon the price. Now, the price was one factor of many that were considered. Other factors considered how would it contribute to the economic development of the town. Would it be a purpose which was consonant with the council's goals, consonant with the long-term master plan, etc. So there were a bunch of different factors that were considered. Fortunately or unfortunately, as the case may be, you only received one bid, and the bid was for the 1.285 number, which was the bottom of the several ranges that might have been bid. The fact that you only received one bid and the fact that it came in at the low end of the price is very reflective of what the redevelopment community feels is the cost to redevelop that property into a viable economic concern. In this case, I believe it was senior housing. So it's really a decision of the market to determine what the value is within the limits that the town establishes. The RFP established 1.285 as the minimum, and the bids could have gone as high as the 3 million .1 figure. Unfortunately, the sole bid that came in was at the 1.285 level. So having received a bid for the amount which is minimum that was acceptable, and the bidder was in all other ways qualified and responsive, the law requires the bidder, the determination to be the lowest, the most qualified, responsive, and responsible bidder. And responsive and responsible are terms which appear in the statute 30B. The bidder was found to be responsive and responsible, and they, being the only bidder, met with the sole bidder to make the award too, and so they received the favorable consideration.
Are you all set, Councilor?
Actually, yeah, I have a follow-up question for that too. It mentions here specifically in the agenda item that it's no longer needed for public purpose, and obviously I wasn't in the council at the time, but I was covering it from that end of the audience over there, and I don't recall there actually being any significant discussion of what possible public purpose this building could have. Has that actually been looked at, and what could we as a town use it for? Because I'm always leery of trying to sell off big public assets that we've owned for a century, that we could be using for something else.
I can't comment fully on the extent of the discussions that took place at the council level concerning the reuse of the property. I can say to you that typically what would take place is the manager would come to the council, have a broad discussion, perhaps there'd be input from the planning board, be input from the staff, from the department heads, about what people would suggest to you would be consonant with the community's goals. And then the council would have a discussion about that and determine perhaps what your objectives were. Those objectives would then be reflected in the request for proposals. One of the nice things about the RFP process is that you are allowed as a municipality to dictate the reuse with very, very refined criteria or with very, very broad criteria. And it's really up to the community and primarily the council to articulate what those reuse concerns are. Now, the reality is, the more narrowly you define those reuse allowances, the more narrowly you decide what a property can be used for, the greater you restrict the market's response and the more likely you make it that you will or will not receive responses. So in this case, what I can tell you from the RFP, and obviously you've read it, is that there was not extremely narrow restraints placed on the proposals, but there were some narrowing of it in terms of the reuses that would be considered acceptable for the property. So that's generally the process.
Actually, my question was actually, was it actually, maybe this isn't to one of the other councilors, was this actually fielded out to other town departments to get some ideas what we could use it as a town for?
Councilor Puffins.
Thank you. Lots of discussion was held in various forms, even through the master planning process, discussion on what's going on within our community, what did we foresee. Some things to keep in mind is that building costs us $200,000 to $300,000 a year to maintain. We have to insure it, we have to heat it, we have to make sure the pipes don't freeze, we have to make sure the vandals don't get in. We have a lot of reasonings. One of the biggest concerns was what was going to be done, and if somebody bought that, would they just demolish it, make a parking lot out of it, or do something more productive? And one of the needs in this community has been stated many, many, many times, and I could iterate that many more times, is for senior housing, for some type of housing that's affordable. And Arch Development, my understanding and the research I've done on them, have done these types of projects in the past. So the fact that they came forward and were willing to, it took a while, this has been going on for a couple of years with these people, on making sure apparently that they're going to get their funding and do everything that they need to do to complete this project in a positive manner. I know that the hospital is very excited about the potential for senior housing in that area, being that the hospital's right up the top of the hill. There's great access to the stores in town, to the pharmacies and such that the seniors would need. I don't know the full plan of this, but certainly with the way things are going in the economy, to be able to get anyone to purchase a building in our community, and I can understand your concern to keep buildings, but they're not necessarily assets, they're liabilities. A community is not in the business to own buildings. We are not landlords. We don't want to be, in my opinion, and others who have spoken to me on this subject, do not necessarily want to be landlords because it's a liability, not necessarily an asset. So, again, discussion was held in many different meetings. I couldn't point them all out or tell you where to find the minutes to them all, but I know Planning and Development discussed it numerous times. It was discussed with economic development in general, and just amongst councilors in many forms, which I won't elaborate because I don't know if all meeting minutes have been purged in certain areas, but it's been discussed, and I think it's a boon for the community, and I hope that you will all see that we need to get the elephant off our back and get the liability off our back and the cost to the taxpayers. Bring in the money, put it towards what it was intended for. That's what I like that. Thank you.
Without speaking to the process that led up to the RFP, because I don't know, what I can tell you, having done many, many, many of these municipal building reuse projects over the years, from my experience, a couple of bits of good news. First, it's clear from your demographics that senior housing is a priority that's needed. There's no doubt about that. So this fulfills a very important community need. And the Happy circumstance of Arch Street's proposal is that they're looking to make these units rent restricted, affordable, which is great. Now that depends on them getting the requisite subsidies that will allow them to do that, but I'm very confident they'll get it. Second thing, I know Arch Street as a developer. I've worked with them before. I've seen their projects. I will tell you they are excellent, excellent redevelopment folks. And in the RFP, if you don't have a copy, I would invite the council. There's a very lengthy list of their projects, many of which are in the western part of the state, and I would invite you to view those, and I think you'll find them to be extremely high quality. The fact that you were able to attract these folks, I think is very good news. Last comment, one of the things any community wants to be very sensitive to is how, when you take a large building like a school, and it's near the downtown area, and you remove it from that purpose, you want to be very careful that you ensure that all that foot traffic, all those pedestrian trips downtown, which helps to enliven your downtown and very much support local businesses, is not affected in a negative way. Right. So senior housing is a great reuse for the school because you'll have lots of that kind of continued presence in the community right there in a very critical area. So overall, my comment to you is I think you have an excellent proposal here that's going to be incredibly beneficial for the community.
To the manager again. I know when I was reading through their proposal, the kind of preliminary stuff that they were suggesting, it mentions community reuse for certain kinds of things. Is there any way we can work out some sort of a deal where although they're buying the property and they're putting in senior apartments, which I agree that's definitely necessary. I heard that going door to door frequently. Is there any way we can also ensure that we can use some of the facility, say the gym and some of the larger community spaces for actual community use? Some sort of because we also have needs for a community center, we have needs for kids spaces, we have needs for a variety of other things that this building could possibly be used for as well.
You did not feature that in the RFP, and so your ability to negotiate at this point is essentially non-existent. Now, that does not mean that if the developer wants to engage in a dialogue with the community to discuss those sorts of things, he's certainly not barred from doing so, but it would be very much at his option. Generally speaking, where there's a perceived need and an interest on the part of the community, I think you find Arch Street in particular to be very amenable to those sorts of discussions, but you can't bind them to it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I got from talking. I actually called up North Adams on their project over there. They did something very similar back in 2005, and their economic development people said that they were very easy to work with. The police department said that they've had no significant problems with their facility. It's kind of set up in a sort of downtown location like ours is, and the only problems that they've had of note are people breaking into cars. So it sounds like it would fit into our downtown. I just wanted to see if we could figure out some other way to use it as well for other town needs. Thanks.
Councilor Vecchia?
Well, my question was answered. 95% is senior housing, but what kind of senior housing? Low end, high end? Is it like TAG?
Yeah, it was my understanding when this was brought up that Arch is it's not subsidized the way the high-rise or Dresser Park is, that it is more of a TAG scenario. It's a private, I don't know if they call it a private-public partnership situation, but it's definitely a private facility that with certain subsidies, as Mr. Pecos was, as the town manager was alluding to, that they get subsidies by providing housing, but it's not the same type of federally funded housing that this high-rise and Dresser Park is. So it provides another opportunity for those looking for a good quality of life to have a wonderful place to be, affordable, and I agree with one of the things that you find cities doing now is bringing in people into their community, their downtowns. If you want to attract more business to your downtown, you need to have more foot traffic, you need to have people living there. And there are many places out in our country here that are providing housing right in their downtown, not unlike what we've done with some of the buildings on Main Street already, and that we're proposing more. Housing in town to attract people to open a market or to open up another restaurant or something so that the people up there can utilize it. So it's just an add-on. Sorry about that.
to the town manager, through the chairman. Is that the RSP you're looking at?
This is their proposal.
Okay, could you put a copy of that in my packet
Sure.
Thursday?
Anyone else on the council?
You want a copy of that?
Come on.
Okay. Thank you.
Before we
I'm all set.
Yep,
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
How did you get one?
Council Pope?
How did you get one?
Thank you, Councilor Moriarty. My question is, I called the manager's office this afternoon to get some more information about the sale because I was kind of confused about this vote because there was no supporting documentation about it in our packets this week. And I had asked to see the purchase and sale agreement, and I was told that there wasn't one yet, and I was wondering if there would be any way that we could see it when it's ready. I don't know if this vote is just also a procedural vote, along with number 12, because we didn't convey the property, or declare the property as surplus before the RFP process, or if this is a separate vote that we would be doing after an RFP, like for all of the properties we're selling.
That's an excellent question. If I understand it correctly.
We can't hear her over here.
I can't hear you guys either.
I'm sorry.
I think the question was, is the vote of conveyance typically taken after the RFP is issued or before it's issued?
Right.
Sum and substance of it, fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. The answer to the question is it's almost invariably taken before the RFP is issued. Now, I will tell you that in the office today we spent a considerable amount of time researching that very question, trying to determine if at some point in the past there had been a council vote specifically on point to authorize the RFP, to take the vote of conveyance, to make something positive to allow the process to have gone forward with clear council blessing. We did not find that in the minutes. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist because that was the product of my assistant, Yvonne, God bless her, stayed an hour and a half late and went through those minutes till just not too long before the council meeting began. So we're doing it very rapidly trying to find it. We'll go back and repeat it to find out. So I'm not 100% sure what the disconnect was, or even if there was a disconnect. What I do know is that in 2010, the town manager sent the council a memo with 5 properties on it and requested your authority to issue an RFP for reuse of all those properties. 4 of the 5 were authorized. The 5th one, which is this particular property, what he said to you at the time is, I'll come back to you in a few weeks and rediscuss that one because we're not quite ready yet. Since that date, we researched and we didn't find a particular council vote. Now, honestly, sometimes these things are done by a formal council vote. Sometimes they're done by a consensus where, you know, the council says, yep, we know you're issuing that, great. Go see what you can get, let's see what it looks like, and then we'll bless it afterwards if we like it. So it can be done either way. It's typically done more often than not that the manager or the authority in the town that has the authority to issue it will come to the council beforehand. Only the council possesses the right under statute to authorize the sale, to declare municipal property surplus, and to authorize the sale of it. Only you have that authority. So, you know, that's the best I can give you as of tonight. What I will tell you at this point is that if you take the vote that's on the agenda tonight, if a majority of you, 2/3 of you, feel that you've received a good proposal, this is a good reuse of the property, then it doesn't matter in what order it should have happened because you will have now definitively spoken, and that will allow the town to then prepare the purchase and sale and move forward with it. If for some reason less than 2/3 of you are agreeable to that tonight, then I would need, with the permission of the chair, some time with you in executive session to explain potential implications of that. And I wouldn't want to get in any more detail than saying that. So I would be cautious of, since you've gone through a full-blown process, you've got an excellent proposal by an excellent developer for a good reuse of the property, I would be very cautious about, at this point, second-guessing this whole thing and saying, no, we're going to pull this back and start over, because you've got someone out there who has likely invested substantial sums of money moving forward with the expectation that they have indeed been awarded this. So, if that sounds like I'm saying read between the lines, that's kind of what I'm saying, without getting too explicit.
Okay, so you've answered my question. So it is, because I was concerned that I hadn't seen the purchase and sale, but if it hasn't been prepared yet, then that's, I think
I'm sorry?
you've answered my question.
Okay.
My other question, I don't know, I'm sure, Mr. Pecos, you weren't here at the time, but does anybody remember, I know we changed the zoning on this property about a year ago, and I don't remember what it had been previously and what had been changed to. I don't know if anybody remembers.
What'd she say?
Not 100%, but it went, schools were in, can be in any zone, so we had to do it as, was it business, extended, like business? It was put into the proper zoning that it would need for this. I remember that. I just can't remember the exact, because there's like 6 zones, so I'm not exactly sure which one, but I know it was included because it was spot zoned as a school, just like Pleasant Street had been, and at the time we cleaned it all up. So I know it's properly zoned. I'm not going to say that it's exactly light industry or what's, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you. I could probably pull something out if we had a break after, but I can't tell you.
Just to help support that, I don't know what the correct zone is, because where's a commercial property, it's also residential. It could come under different provisions of zoning. It would depend on the table of use regulations. But what I will tell you is there's evidence in the file that it was rezoned in order to be appropriate to this use. Otherwise, it would have had to have been a caveat in the RFP saying subject to future rezoning, and that is not in there. It was rezoned. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All set? Councilor Bowman? I have Councilor Steves and then Councilor Vecchio. You deferring? Okay. Councilor Vecchio?
My only question is the 1.285 million. There's no contingency. We're going to get that money all in one lump sum. We're going to get the 1.285 million all in one lump sum. There's no contingencies about that money.
Contingencies in what sense?
That they don't have to pay us up front all the money.
Oh, this is a deposit that's been paid, yes. And if you give me a minute, I can find out what the amount was. It's far short of the 1.285 million, I can tell you that.
Well, when they buy it, we're going to get the rest of the money. One lump sum.
More than likely, that will be a subject of the purchase and sale agreement, and it's likely it will take place once the financing is put in place through the state and federal programs,
well, I understand
which
that.
are going to help subsidize this.
I understand that, but I just want to know if we're going to get our money.
Yes.
How quickly we're going to get the money, that's all.
The P&S requires, the RFP requires that everything be in place on an estimated timetable of, I believe, 18 months. So rough and tough from the point of RFP, and I believe it was March of this year, to winter 2015. And I couldn't be any more specific than that without looking at the very specific provisions.
So we're not going to really get this money up front? Like if I buy a house, I have to pay for the house right up front?
Unlike the purchase of a residential home, when you're dealing with something this big, and the purchase is leveraged on receipt of state and federal grant money, the response clearly indicates that they will consummate their end of the bargain only upon receiving these various subsidies, because without them, it is not an economically viable project for them at the 1.285 level.
What if they don't get the subsidies?
Then more than likely, the way this is written, that would abrogate the deal, and we would have to start over.
That was a big word, but I mean, what you're saying, that the deal wouldn't go through.
Correct.
Okay, in layman's terms. Yeah, well, I don't really like that. I like to get the money up front, but that's just me. Thank you.
Councilor Steves?
Actually, to follow up on that, according to their own proposal, it calls for 18 months to secure all necessary funding to formalize the purchase, construction 12 months thereafter, followed by a 6-month lease-up period, which essentially means that the place, if they get all the funding, it'll be full by, say, June 2017, plus or minus.
By the way, the deposit is $200,000. It's 10% of the purchase price, or $200,000, whichever is the greater, so that'll be the $200,000 figure.
We have that money.
You get that up front.
We already got it?
Upon execution of the
Okay,
PNS.
okay, thank you.
PNS has not yet been written.
Okay, thank you.
Because
I'm
the
new here.
PNS can't be written
I understand.
until you take the vote of
I
conveyance.
understand.
Actually, according to some of the documents that I was reading, I guess they have given us like $5,000 deposit, which doesn't really count much toward the total sum.
More than
But-
likely, that was the bid deposit.
Something like that, yeah. And earlier you mentioned, or as Councilor Vecchia mentioned, was asking about the rents and stuff. It specifically talks about rents will be affordable and will range between 30% and 60% of the area median income level for 58 apartments approximately, 44 one-bedroom and 14 two-bedroom. Oh, also, one more question. I noticed in the RFP documents it talks about an alternative being they could either buy it outright or they could lease it. And I'm obviously, this is a proposal to buy. Is there any way we could go back to them with a proposal to lease it?
Their proposal was for purchase.
Yeah.
Again, if for some reason it was more favorable to the town to now consider lease, it would be a negotiation subject to their approval, but we could not bind them to it.
Anyone else with questions, comments? Okay. So I guess with that, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Councillor Peliquin?
Yes.
Councillor Steves?
Yes.
Councillor Vandal?
Yes.
Councillor Vecchia?
No.
Councillor Carrasco?
Yes.
Councillor Clements?
Yes.
Councillor Estrada?
Yes.
Councillor Manna? Yes. Councillor Moriarty?
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Motion passes. Agenda item number 14, we have a number of appointments coming up, so if the council would so entertain, what I'd like to do is bunch those that we can bunch together. Agenda item number 14, 15, and 16, we can, are appointments to 3-year terms to the Call Fire Department of Joshua Brackett of Southbridge, Gil Provost of Southbridge, and Keith Nichols of Southbridge from July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017. So if we had a motion to do so.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. This is one that we can, go ahead.
Councillor, according to Council Rule number 9, votes on motions of procedures may be taken by show of hands except as specified in the charter. I would ask that, could we just do show of hands free, unless somebody wants it noted that they're opposed or
Right.
some other indication, show of hands is adequate.
Thank you. Okay, one last chance for any questions, comments? No? Okay, then seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? None? Unanimous of all present. Agenda items number 17 is to vote to reappoint Travis McDonald of Southbridge as call firefighter for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Number 18 and 19, vote to reappoint Colin Mocklow of Southbridge as auxiliary firefighter. I'm sorry?
Agenda 20 also.
Okay, yes, sorry. So agenda items number 18 through 20, these are 1-year terms to the auxiliary fire department effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. And the reappointments would be Colin Mocklow of Southbridge, Dylan Langley of Southbridge, and Jonathan Anderson of Southbridge.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 21, vote to reappoint Kathy Shields as Animal Inspector and Animal Control Officer for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. We have 3-year terms for the Southbridge Police Auxiliary, and those are from agenda items number 22 through 30. And those would be from July 1st, 2014 through June 30th of 2017. That is Jose Altieri, Kevin Arena, Chris Bouchard, John Calcani, Danielle Dipolino, William Hibbard, Hosea Messina, Ryan Stanley, and Jordan Witherspoon.
So moved.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I believe you missed 22.
No, Jose Altieri was the first one.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
No problem.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to number 31, vote to reappoint Richard Whitney of Southbridge to the Library Board of Trustees for a 3-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. We have 3 appointments to the Commission on Disability for 3-year terms effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017, and those are Michael Mulvey of Southbridge, Barbara Cordell of Southbridge, and Leanne Pate of Southbridge.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Vote to reappoint Dale Ferrin of Southbridge to the Traffic Commission for a 3-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Vote to reappoint Theodore Bartlett of Southbridge to the Southbridge Cultural Commission for a 3-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017.
37, 38, 39, and 40 are also the same.
But those are different terms. This is a 3-year term.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Following are 1-year terms to the Southbridge Cultural Commission effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015, and those are to vote to reappoint Severina Rios of Southbridge, Virginia Rappo of Southbridge, and Michelle LaBeouf of Southbridge.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Vote to reappoint Lori Dunleavy of Southbridge to the Scholarship Committee for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 41, vote to reappoint Arnold Lonnie of Southbridge to the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission Scholarship Committee and the Educational Fund Committee for 1-year terms effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Number 42, vote to reappoint A.J. Larichelle of Southbridge to the Scholarship Committee and the Educational Fund Committee for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 43, vote to reappoint Robert G. Caprara, Esquire, as Town Attorney for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 44, vote to reappoint Blattman, Bobrowski, and Mead, LLC as Special Municipal Counsel for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 45, vote to reappoint Tim Norris, Esquire, of Collins, Loughran, and Peliquin as Labor Counsel for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous of all present.
Point of order, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, don't know how else to interrupt you. I would like to add an agenda item. It is the agreement between the town of Southbridge and Jennifer Reynolds for the, she is our acting independent contractor who does the aerobics at the senior center. It came to my attention that her contract had expired at the end of June, and it had not made subcommittee, it had not made council, it had not made anywhere. And today, the seniors, when I was at their luncheon, I mean, I knew it needed to come up, but they said, oh, we're not having classes because the contract wasn't renewed. And that's a shame because our seniors use 3 times a week. We've been doing this for years with them. I doubt, I mean, certainly we have discussion here and I would not speak for anybody, but it's not ever been denied. And I do think it's an emergency because it's something that has now ceased. And our seniors need to exercise, they need to stay flexible, I would hope that we could add this agenda item as item number 46, vote to approve the agreement between the town of Southbridge and Jennifer A. Reynolds for a term of 1 year as our As our aerobics class, yeah, I don't have an actual, I just have the contract, which I'll hand out to everybody. We did ask the town manager's office just this evening. Oh, excuse me, the payment to the town is $7,200, payable in 48 weekly payments of $150.
I'll second that.
So, first we need to add the agenda item. And then, do you need more? Okay. Anybody else? When I was in the office at 6, I'd heard at the luncheon, and I addressed it with the town manager and
Thank you,
Yvonne.
Conrad. Thank you, Counselor.
Ms. Tortis. So, just thought it was important. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would respectfully beg you to please do this. Otherwise, I have to go explain to a bunch of seniors tomorrow why there's no aerobics, and I don't want to have to do that, unless one of you would like to volunteer to be the instructor. Good. Just a little glitch, not any fault of the office. I want to reassure you
We've been in an
that.
interim situation.
We just want the
Felt to the
seniors to not lose their, and thank you for bringing it up.
Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
All we have to do is motion to agenda. We've got the second to add, and then we'll do the vote on it.
Any further discussion then?
Yeah.
Councilor Vecchia?
So, if I read this contract right, it's 3 times a week and she gets $50 each time.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Steves?
This is to add to the agenda, right?
This is to add the item.
agenda, yes.
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Vecchia?
Yes?
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Manna? Yes. Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
9 yes?
Okay, so agenda item number 46, and Stacy, could you read what you have?
Okay.
No?
Should we do it again?
A bulk of it, but not word for
Okay,
word.
I wanted to make sure.
We'll try again. Vote to enter into a one-year contract. The date would be
8th.
today's date, 1 year from now, till next year, with Jennifer A. Reynolds of Woodstock Valley, Connecticut, as our aerobics instructor at the senior center, in the amount of the contract in the amount of $7,200, payable in 48 weekly payments of $150.
Do we have a motion?
Does that work?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the matter, on the actual agenda item itself?
If
Councilman?
I could just request one more copy.
Oh, sure, sir.
Thank you.
There was enough. Sorry.
Any other councilors with questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Vecchia?
Yes?
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Steves?
Yes.
9 yes?
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to councilors' forum, and I suppose we will start with Councilor Vandal.
I'd like to thank the 3 new councilors. Wish them luck in the year. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councilor Vecchia?
This is my first time back. I served on a council. This is the 4th time I got elected, and what I would like to see is the council this year to work on cutting the budgets, that the people in Southbridge really don't have the money to have their taxes keep on being raised. And that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Steves?
Thanks. I have a couple of quick things. One is that I want to say thanks to the people who supported me, and that I specifically had forgotten to say thanks.
Speak into the mic, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit
Is that
louder.
better? I'll get used to this one of these days. First of all, I just wanted to say thanks to the voters who supported me, and specifically to Elsa Rivera, because I forgot to put her name in the letter to the evening news. Thanks for translating stuff. Second, I wanted to say that while I was at the library recently, I heard a citizen talking about concerns about the fence on Hamilton Street, the one near the little kitchen, that it ends 10 or 15 feet before it should. And she was concerned about whether or not the possibility of kids could fall off the ledge there toward the river. So maybe we should take a look at that and see if, is that town property, first of all, or is that private? I don't know.
It's private property.
So if we can look at that, if it's town property, maybe we should do something about that. And the third thing is that I happened to notice something in both of the local papers about, I just wanted to give a quick congratulations out to Sam Sevian, who went into the U.S. Junior Chess Championship, ranked #2 in the country. And although he didn't win, he certainly did a lot better than any of us could. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Is there something wrong with these mics?
Sometimes they're a little difficult to hear.
Okay, thank you.
It's a continuing issue. Councilor Pelopin.
I'd just like to congratulate the newly elected councilors, and that's all for me tonight.
Thank you. Councilor Manna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I would like to also congratulate the councilors, Councilor Steves, and also wish you a happy birthday, Councilor Vecchia and Councilor Estrada. I look forward to working with you this year. Also, I just want to explain my present votes tonight, as I didn't receive any phone calls as to why anybody wanted to be vice chair or chair. I decided it was in my best interest to vote present because it was not explained to me, as it was last year when the chair was being lobbied by Councilor Langevin, why he wanted to be chair. So that is the reason why I voted present tonight on the chair and the vice chair, because I didn't know why they wanted to be chair or vice chair. I didn't have any knowledge of why they wanted to be. So that was my reason. And also just a reminder for the open meeting law in our emails. We are allowed to pass along information, but we're not allowed to discuss agenda items or our votes. And that's it for me tonight. Oh, and congratulations, Esteban, Councilor Carrasco, and Councilor Moriarty. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Estrada.
Good evening. Congratulations, Councilor Carrasco and Moriarty. Only 2 days, and thanks for God for the opportunity to the town council. I want to thank citizens of Southbridge for giving me the opportunity to be to your town council. I work really hard to make difference and bring to the city on the right track the progress and equity. I thank the mark the history, and together we can do it. Citizen, you made the promise, better housing, better job, very good idea for new town citizen. It's my promise day to day. Sport free. Working the promise to you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Clements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's good to see the new town manager, the interim, here this evening, and I just want to be very clear to the town manager that according to our charter, section 4-2-3, excuse me, number B, the most important thing I can think of that you can do, it says here to keep the council fully informed regarding town and departmental operations, fiscal affairs, general problems, and administrative actions. Shall keep the town council fully advised as to the financial condition of the town by filing written reports with the council, yada, yada, yada. Gives you a time frame on that. Also, C is to keep the council fully informed as to the long-range needs of the town, the practices and the governmental trends of other communities, and the laws and regulations of the Commonwealth, and make such recommendations to the council as deemed necessary and appropriate. There are other things here, and I trust that you will have read them and will continue to use this document with some guidance, as well as discussing with the 9 elected officials what is going on in our community. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to some good positive actions in our future with the council present, and that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Carrasco.
Yes, I would like to congratulate all 3 councilors, Councilor Steve, Councilor Vecchia, Councilor Estrada, on their election. Also, I want to thank my fellow councilors for entrusting me to be a vice chair. I didn't make any phone calls for it. Thank you for those that voted for me tonight. Also, as we speak, there is a group of young men. I wish them luck. The big league, Southbridge Big League 17 and 18-year-old team, that they are 1 win away from going to Delaware. This has not been done in many years, so hopefully they do win tonight. They're actually playing right now as we speak in Oxford, and so hopefully they do win. And if it's possible, I would like to see somehow some kind of action from the town council or the town manager if they do win, a proper send-off for them. Because we are proud of our community, we are proud of our kids, so I just want to figure that out and see if, hopefully they do win tonight and they'll be on their way to Delaware. That's all I have for tonight.
And just one brief note for the council, in terms of subcommittees and such, if you have any any specific subcommittees you would wish to be on or wish not to be on for any given reason, please let me know so we can do that. I can make assumptions, but I prefer to have your actual input. Agenda number 47 is discussion of next meeting date.
Next meeting date will be Monday, July 21st, 2014 at 7 p.m. in council chambers here at the town hall.
And agenda item number 48 is adjournment. All in favor?
We supposed
Need
to
a
make a
motion?
motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Hurry, Ms. Moore.
All in favor?
It's been a pleasure.
All in favor?
I always liked you. You know that, right?
All right, we're adjourned.